What is up, everybody? My name is Adam. Some of you know me as HeadHunter2018 and the voice of gaming. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day or night. Today I'm going to be doing my walkthrough and showcase for my Starship Enterprise, Star Trek the Original Series, U.S.S Enterprise Constitution class Starship build, which is finally complete. And I'm going to be showing you how to set it up and just giving you the whole tour and all that. So let's begin. Alright, so here are the two versions of the file. There is just the default Enterprise as it is, completely just the ship, and then this is it with weapons. So you can actually do some insanely awesome space battles because it's built completely out of heavy blocks, and it has a total of 69 missile turrets arranged in very neat phaser strips on the top and bottom of the saucer section. You can see that goes and takes the PCU up from 110,551 to 129,253. So it's going to be even more room out of your 200,000 budget to spawn in the weaponized one, but it is absolutely worth it. But yeah, so you do need to have experimental mode enabled in your home screen settings to even be able to spawn the ship in. If you just have your default PCU settings, you will not be able to spawn the ship in, as well as you need to have thrusters damage blocks turned off in your settings, because the ship features completely internal thrusters. So that way it looks really good aesthetically, and it still functions really well because they're hydrogen thrusters. Anyway, so I'm going to spawn in the default Enterprise, and you can see this is also the Type F shuttlecraft that I'll be spawning in and showing you guys how easy it is to spawn that inside of the hangar. But let's begin. So depending on what console you're playing, it may take a little bit more time to spawn in. Now you can see that it spawns in as a blank. It spawns in as a blank image, but you can know which way it's positioned by those two little squares. Those are actually where the rotors are. So when it's facing this way, it's completely on its side, and its saucer section is facing the left of your screen, and then the cells are facing the right. So that's a good way to know that it's at least positioned right. If it was like this, then that would mean it'd be facing the other way, and if it was like this, you get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that would be upside down. So we want to face it. Let's put it like this. Okay. We're gonna spawn it in now. This ship is ginormous. Took over 180 hours to build, and over the course of a month and a half. So it was a huge project. You see that not all of it spawns in right away. Just a second, it will fully load in. There we go. Now it is fully spawned in. And here we have it, the Star Trek the Original Series U.S.S Enterprise, professionally recreated. I used a CGI model as a reference, but I had lots of other in-hand and internet resource references. So I'm a professional, and this isn't my first rodeo with the Enterprise, but this is one of the most faithful recreations of this Enterprise I've ever done, featuring rotating bazaar collectors, blinking nav lights, NCC 1701 spelled out so nice, a registry on the saucer section, the nacelles. The fact that you can actually fit a my miniature Type F shuttlecraft inside of the shuttle bay is just beyond cool. And this thing is huge. Comparison. There is your character. So we're gonna. There are 3 main ways you can get into the ship. There is the turbo lift on the bridge. It takes you right directly onto the bridge. I'm not going to show you that yet. I'll keep it a surprise. There is the entrances on either side of the neck. So you have 2 entrances there, and then you have this entrance here on either side of the ship. It's completely symmetrical. So, all right, but I'll be entering from the shuttle bay. We're going to spawn in the shuttle, and then I'll show you how to get around the ship and how you can get from here, the furthest point of the ship, right into the sausage section, right onto the bridge itself. So everything is all connected. It was not fun doing the interiors, but it needed to be done. Okay, so I'm going to show you just how easy it is to spawn my Type F shuttlecraft onto that area right there. So first of all, let's pull up the files once again. I have to scroll through a bunch of my files. These are different saves of the ships that I've made while building it. See some of my other builds as well. Alright, so here's the official file that you would get on mod.io. Alright, so there we are. That looks perfect. Let's put it there. I'm really picky. And if you really want to get this on, get this landed perfectly, you should take the time. But I'm here to kind of show you that it doesn't take too much time to actually do it. Okay, so there it is, but it's not actually fully landed yet, so I'm not going to take too much time, but we will screw around with it just a little bit. So it actually just landed there. It just has to touch just enough, just the tiniest bit for that to count as a landing. Or maybe it didn't. Weird, because you'd think it wouldn't, but you still need to disconnect it to okay, we went a little bit too far back. Because it has hydrogen thrusters, this ship it's very, very easy to move it. Okay, so now you definitely know that it's landed. See, the problem is now that when you land it, since this is where the actual landing gear is, and that's actually canon to the shuttlecraft, that's actually how it's designed. It's bent down a little bit, so to have it perfectly landed, you want to just fiddle around with it just a little bit. So once again, disconnect, get up a little bit, do that. Now it's angled too far up, so if you take the time to mess around with it a little bit and get the desired result, look at that. That is so close to perfect. That might be enough for you. For me, we'll just lower it a little bit more. Look at that. That is literally perfect. That is actually perfect. So actually, one thing you are going to want to do now that you have it landed, once again, that's literally perfectly centered. That is a perfect landing. That, and trust me, like having it landed like that, taking the time to actually make it look really good, it just affects the whole display. So there it is, right on the landing strip. Look how much room, there's so much lighting in the shuttle bay, and that's an accurate recreation of the shuttle bay look as well. You have this, this is actually where the second bridge is, so this is a secondary bridge that gives you different flying angles and whatnot. So yeah, let's get into the ship. It's symmetrical on either side, so it doesn't matter which door you go in. This is what this area of the ship looks like. We've actually got some really high ceilings in here, which is nice. It kind of is a nice transition into this just massive area. So that's why this is 2 blocks high. But it's all really well lit, but you're still going to want to have your suit lights on. That's just a smart thing to do. Once again, symmetrical, doesn't matter which way you go, but you take these Jeffrey tubes or turbo lift, whichever one you want to call it, and then here we have bridge 2. And this would be the secondary. So these are some of the camera angles you get from back here, which are fantastic. This ship is insanely large, so the fact that you get such nice camera angles of the ship is truly impressive, and that does not happen with a lot of ships this size. So that is actually very awesome. Okay, so you can see that you have the 4 main controls. You have fire phasers. Got turn the impulse engines on and off depending on what you like. These are the controls for the right D-pad to turn the Bizarre collectors to. So sometimes when you're in the administrator menu and you bring the ship to a stop, it will stop the rotating of the Bizarre collectors. This is a way to turn them back on or turn them off. So that's completely up to you, but that is there. If you kind of want to power on the ship, you can turn off the impulse engines, turn off the Bizarre collectors, and then you can like power up the ship, sort of like a sequence like that. So that could be cool. And then as a default, the ship is in display mode right now, which means that the hydrogen thrusters are all off. With the press of up on the D-pad, you turn on all of the hydrogen thrusters at once. But when they are on, even though they're under, like they're inside of the warp nacelles and inside of the saucer section and whatnot, buried away in there, they will still illuminate through. So that's why it's nice to just have them turned off as a default unless you're actually intending on moving the ship. And the cool thing is, once you get it to the desired speed, all you have to do is turn the hydrogen thrusters. You don't even need to have inertial dampeners on or off, and it will maintain that speed. So that's another cool thing. And you can move the ship without having the engines turn on as well, since there are hundreds of gyroscopes. So it won't. The ship is kind of a little bit slow for turning and whatnot at very low speeds or like no speed at all. But the higher speeds you are, the more maneuverable it's going to be. Anyway, yeah. So that's bridge 2. And now here we are in the main interior. Again, all of these, it's all symmetrical. So this is engineering. So I thought that like the TOS engineering has a really unique way where you look into it and you kind of like just see back into the impulse deck. If I said that right. So I did this sort of window setup where you can see the 5 internal hydrogen thrusters that allow the ship to descend. So yeah, that's the sort of little thing I just did, just so that there is an engineering section. But yeah, this is your entry points from the actual hull on each side. So that was the one entry point I showed you. So either way you go, it doesn't matter. So this goes right all the way up to the next deck of the hull and then straight into the neck. This and then these two on this side, on these sides, will take you to the second interior area of the hull, and this will do the same as well. So now we're on the second deck of the hull. So I did make 2 rooms here. Pretty cool. The ship is absolutely gigantic, and I had to really figure. I couldn't like have every window have a possible interior and have it all connect, so I had to really be smart because it's already over 100,000 PCU. So a lot of thought was put into the interior. So yeah. Then boom, that takes you back down to there, and this takes you all the way up into the neck. So here we are in the actual neck now. That's the back window of that, going up to the second of 3 decks in the neck. This is the middle deck that you saw with the 2 door entrances. Really nice lighting. This was actually, the neck was the first part of the ship I built. That's that corner window, that back window there. Go up here. This is the third deck of the neck. And then this will take you up all the way into the saucer section. So now we are officially inside of the saucer section, under the sort of the impulse deck, sort of vertebrae spine, the spine of the impulse deck. So that's about where we are on the ship right now. You have these two hallways, gives you illusion of more interior and whatnot, but those are toggled off, and there's nothing. If you were to actually break this door for some reason, you would just have a way of seeing all of the internals. There's just a lot of open space aside from all the hydrogen thrusters. So anyway, the ship is massive. Then you go 8 blocks high, and that will take you into the actual bridge. But everything connects. Here we are on the actual bridge of the Starship Enterprise. Once again, that's the actual turbo lift that takes you right. That's a direct way of just getting right to the bridge to fly the ship. And it just worked out so perfectly. But yeah, so this is the actual bridge. Captain's chair. Sulu, Chekhov. So, yeah. Nothing else more to say. Here at this seat, you have the exact same stuff. Impulse engines, Bizarre collectors, hydrogen engines, and then instead of phasers on the bottom on the D-pad, you have the jump ability, just in case you actually do want to take the ship to warp. It is, after all, a starship. However, you can switch out. With the phasers if you want. So here are the groups: Bizarre collectors, rotation, engine power, impulse engine, lights in the neck. That's actual like groups that I turned them off. They still show the phasers main. So you could set them to shoot, and they would shoot simultaneously. Then these are just other groups I saved, and I tried to turn off, and it didn't go away. So yeah. Now this is the back of the ship. These are your flying angles. You get amazing camera angles. It's just pure Star Trek. It's just fantastic angles of the ship that I'm sure you will love. You can actually see that with the new letter blocks, U.S.S. Enterprise is actually spelled there as well, which is pretty cool. Very small, but the NCC 1701 just looks so fantastic, and actually slopes along the hull, which is actually accurate as well. Yeah, all of the proportions, all of the shapes, it's all 100%. This is a 98% recreation, professional recreation. 98. Just there's a few little things like the neck. As it slopes too forward, but that's out of my control. That's the block. The grills and stuff, there should be a little bit more room between the nacelle and the attachment to the hull, but that's such a little thing. It looks fantastic. The actual size of the grills are proper. I give it a 98%. Got your blinking nav lights. So yeah, this is the Enterprise. That's how you get from one area to the next. It's pretty straightforward. But it all connects. Every deck connects, and now it's just a matter of the sort of fun that you'll have with it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. It was a little bit longer than I planned, but yeah, you take the time to put that shuttlecraft in there properly, and it just looks so fantastic in there. I thought about closing it up, but you know, there's really just no point, because I think having the shuttlecraft in there is just a big part of the experience. So yeah, anyway, it was a long time coming, and I'm really glad to be done, and I'm so excited that the community can enjoy.